Hello, Poke People, and welcome back to another episode of Chew News. As always, my name is Dee Brady.
And I'm Tay Chichu.
So, firstly, we want to thank everyone for understanding why we had to take last week off. This has been one big storm of cold and flu season, so we understand, and thank you for your understanding as we kind of get well in all of this. But nevertheless, let's get right into the episode. First, as always, is the raid events that are happening in Scarlet and Violet. And now we have two raid events that are going on right now, or not right now, but at the end of this week and the start of next. So the first one is the second round of Greninja raids. If you didn't get it, the first week, last weekend of January going into February, we are getting that second round of 7-star Greninja raids, and they are like most 7-star raids where they are very difficult. I know my friends and I,
Impossible,
it
some
took
might say.
honestly, yes, because it is taken so many times. I know I was able to beat it with the slow bro like I was with the Cinderace raids, but it was still very difficult. Those raids are going to be going on from this Friday, the 10th, through Sunday, the 12th. And then we have our first themed raid event for Valentine's Day, where we're going to get a Tandemouse raid with the Fairy Terra type. Now, that is honestly, in my opinion, one of the most perfect things you can do for a themed raid. I'm very excited. Even though I've already got a mouse hold that's got like decent stats and everything, I'm still going to participate because it's cute. Why wouldn't you? It's a raid event. Like, even though a lot of us really are hyped for the 7-star raids, like the Charizard raids, like the Cinderace and Greninja raids, there are these mini raid events that we've got going on. Like, we just had the Armarouge and Ceruledge raid events that were this last weekend. I hope everyone got what they were hoping out of that, but it's just so cool in my opinion that they are doing something every weekend in between those 7-star rates. It's just so cool. Now, we also have some merch news that Tay and I will both be talking about. So I'm going to let Tay take it away.
So, as we know, or if you are a religious Pokemon Center refresher for new releases every week, you would know that we have gotten. I don't know if I talked about this last time, but a bunch of new statues are coming out. There's a Legends of Arceus statue where it's Arceus, and that one was, I believe,
Arcus for some.
Arceus. Um, that one is $200. I think I did talk about it before. We have some new spiral notebooks, which for me as a journaler with a million journals, those are cool, and they're retailing for about $20 each for about 200 pages. Some more trading card stuff that hasn't sold out, and also there's new Koraidon and Miraidon figures that are $270 for like not even a foot.
That is very outrageous in my opinion.
Hard agree.
Like, if you're going to charge that much, I want that thing to be as
Big,
tall as my 5'11"
big.
self.
Not even that though, but like if you're gonna make a statue, okay, and these are gorgeous statues, do not get me wrong, but
Very gorgeous.
yes, but you need to make it at least like 18 inches if you're gonna charge over $200 for that. Like that to me is just it's. I'm gonna look at the sizes right now because I have, and it's also a pre-order. I might add. It's not even 11 inches. It is 6.3 by 9 by 10.3. It's not even a foot. If you're going to charge $270 for a statue, it needs to be at least a foot. And the same thing with the Arceus statue that's $200. That's not a foot either. So, like,
Those things better be made out of metal and or like a very precious stone.
I understand for like the diehard Pokemon fans, but like if you're not, I just I don't know. Maybe I it's just in my opinion
Pokemon Company.
very
Pokemon
outrageous.
Company. Yes, Pokemon Company. You're already getting every penny out of all of your
Oh my
fans,
god.
no matter what.
Yes.
But at least like throw us a bone every now and then.
For God's sake, it's just it's so much. And lastly, expensive Pokemon things. Pokemon also released on the Pokemon Center some cool. I believe the correct term is bomber jackets.
Yes, I am very excited. They just announced those today. There are seven of them. They've got, of course, Pikachu, but Rayquaza and Gengar, Charizard, the legendary birds.
Which I find interesting. The legendary birds,
Very,
that is.
very
And
interesting.
Rayquaza.
Very in
Random
honestly,
Rayquaza.
Rayquaza, I'm not that surprised at because it is a fairly popular Pokemon. I mean, like Charizard and Pikachu, that's a no-brainer. That is a
Yes.
no-brainer. The one that I'm kind of surprised isn't there is Eevee because Eevee,
Mm,
as we've talked about before, has kind of become another pseudo mascot for the franchise.
hmm
So I'm very surprised
Or
that we
even
didn't get
Jigglypuff.
in or Jigglypuff,
Like
like
something pink or fairy or even
because
Mewtwo or
they're
Mew, you know?
yeah,
Like,
because these are very the base color is black
hmm
and then the lining is the color of whatever Pokemon is on there. So for like Pikachu, it's yellow. For Charizard, it's orange. For Quaza, it's green. Gengar is purple. And then the birds are their respective colors. It's a very interesting choice. I would have
even a Lugia. If you're
even a
gonna do the
Lugia, like
birds, why would you do Rayquaza? Like, I get, like, Rayquaza's cool and that's
mhm.
great and fantastic, but if you're gonna do the legendary birds and you're just gonna have a random other legendary, why would you not put Lugia?
I guess because they would also have to do Ho-Oh and then have to include the legendary beasts as well.
I don't think they'd have to do the beasts.
Well, I mean, with like with the birds, when you associate the birds, you also think of Lugia. When you think of the beasts, you also think of Ho-Oh.
That's fair, but I just think it's very odd that you're gonna do Rayquaza and not add Groudon or Kyogre. So that's why
Yeah.
it's to me it's odd. These are also retailing for about $100. So if you're into that,
Yes.
great. If not, and you're like me, I mean, I'd be into it if it was like $60. But
Yeah.
we're not
Well, I
gonna.
mean, a normal bomber jacket is around like a decent one is around $60-$70. A
Yeah,
good quality one is about $100.
yeah.
I would know because I have two. Um,
I get
and
mine from
they were
Target.
they were definitely treat myself moments. They were
Yes.
definitely treat myself moments. I was like, I've been looking for a bomber jacket for a while, and I want one that's gonna last. And Pokemon Center stuff does tend to last a while.
Yeah.
Like I'm currently wearing the Team Dragon jersey, and I've worn this pretty religiously since I've got it. And their stuff does hold up, so I do think that although it's a bit pricey, it's going to last you for quite some time.
But still, where are my
But
Gen 5 Sitting Cuties?
very true. We are still waiting on those. We're still very much waiting on those. They may hit around Pokemon Day. That would be my guess because I also have a hard like feeling that not only would they announce the Gen 9 DLC for later this year, but I also have a feeling they might announce possible Gen 5 remakes that we may get
Yeah.
later next year and whatnot. Like, who knows? We could get a twofer like we did this last time where we got the basically one for one remake of Diamond and Pearl that I really hope they don't do again, and a Legends game. We could get two of those, or we could just get a whole new Gen 5 remake, and I'd be okay with that. But I really do want them to kind of just take their time with it because the Pokemon community, as we all know, have their opinions about things and their expectations are very, very high. And it should be coming around out around the same time as other big name titles like I believe the Zelda game, the new Breath of the Wild game should be coming out shortly after, if not around that time, and they're gonna have to compete with that. They're gonna have to
That's
compete
true,
with
but that
that.
didn't stop him before.
Very true. But that is all we've got for March news. Now, we also just this past weekend wrapped up the Orlando Championships where we saw our new champion, Wolfie, get crowned again. So, great match. Both Tay and I were actively watching that as it was going on. I will let Tay take it away and share her thoughts on what she thought of this match.
I will say I was in fact on the edge of my seat during the last match of Wolf versus Ashton, um, just because it was such an interesting matchup. You get the Dondozo and the Tatsugiri. I think that Wolf's team, especially with Screamtail partnered up with Gothitelle, great. You get that Perish song in, you trap them right in. You have to make those sacrifices, and it really forces you to predict what your opponent's move is going to make. And I think that nobody really thought to use Screamtail, and I think that Wolf, because in my opinion he is probably the top Pokemon VGC player, and he's crowned regionals again. And it's funny enough that the last time that Ashton played Wolf was in a regionals, and Ashton lost. I'm sorry if I think it's Ashton. Um, and Wolf won. Wolfie won with a Paris song team, which that's kind of terrifying. And I'm already excited to play this VGC ladder and get back into it and see a million Screamtails, which I did
Exactly.
predict was going to be
I
used.
was gonna I was going to say like now when we around like episode 1 or 2, you were talking about your possible predictions for VGC, and you were saying aside from maybe like Fluttermane, a paradox Pokemon we could be seeing a lot of is Screamtail. Now, did you think that we were going to be seeing Screamtail as a Perish Song user?
No, I didn't like. I wanted to see Screamtail used, but I did think that other Paradox Pokemon were going to be used more, such as Brute Bonnet, Roaring Moon, and players were definitely going to have to make that thought of these Pokemon of, do I use Salamence? Do I use Roaring Moon? Do I use Amoonguss? Do I use Brute Bonnet? And those types of you know choices were made, and I think that with Screamtail, I think that Wolf said, people aren't going to think of this. This is what I'm going to do. This is it.
And that's just what really makes him, like Tay said, and I wholeheartedly agree, Wolfie being one of the strongest VGC players in the world.
For sure.
Because he's thinking of things that no one else is thinking of.
Yeah,
No one else is thinking of. And of course, several other people are going to then copy him and try and recreate what he did. Which I mean,
absolutely.
rightfully so. That's what trailblazers do.
Hmm.
Funny enough that I use that, and that is now a Pokemon move. uh, but that is what trailblazers do.
Yeah,
They think of things that no one else would think of to use or do, and they just go for it. Like Tay also said, I was also on the edge of my seat. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is such an exciting match." Now, this is the first season of VGC that I have actively participated in and watched. I did a few ranked battles myself. I did decently, but obviously not good enough. Who knows?
I haven't
I
gotten a
could.
master this season, so granted I haven't played like a super ton, but I'm
Mhm.
just trying to get a feel out for how it's going to go, and I'm hopefully going to get back into it this month. Try and get back to masters where I once was probably 3 years ago.
It is just so fun to watch people excel at a medium that we all enjoy and just really kind of take it to the next level. And so I'm
Absolutely.
very excited to see what the next season of competitive brings, what the next regional championships looks like. I will be on the edge of my seat, just ready to watch and commentate and honestly participate. I'm
Feel that.
excited.
Feel that. Absolutely.
And so we are going to take a quick break because that concludes our news portion of this podcast. Now, when we come back, we are going to be sharing our opinions, which this one is something that Tay thought of. And it really raised a lot of questions because it's something that we would have to think of if Pokemon were real. And now that question will be answered after this quick break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our opinion portion of the podcast. Now, like I said before, this is something that Tay thought of, and it really raised some questions for me because it's something that we would have to think about in real life if Pokemon were real. And that is, should it be illegal or not to own a legendary Pokemon? Now,
Well,
Tay feels very strongly about this, as she just said. I'm going to let her lead off with this opinion portion.
now listen. Okay, we've seen this done and put in the Pokemon anime several times. And we've seen a Darkrai, we've seen just so many legendary Pokemons be caught, even by Ash himself. Like even Melmetal, right? Which is supposed to be this pseudo legendary type Pokemon. And
Mythical, yeah.
yeah. And I just don't think that it's right for young children to be able to catch a legendary. I don't care how strong you are. For what we know about legendary Pokemons, that they're legendary because of the fact that they are like almost one of a kind. If not one of a kind, a few of a kind. Almost like an instinct animal. Extinct. Instinct? Extinct animal. And so
Words are hard.
but so I feel like it shouldn't be allowed for adults, children, or anything to be able to have these legendary Pokemons, mythical Pokemons, because they're legendaries. It's not fair, and they have these jobs to do. Like you're just gonna take a god Arceus out of the air and catch him, and now he's yours, and now you have a mini god in your pocket. I don't think so. No, absolutely not. They deserve to live their lives in the wild where they should be.
So, what do you say to the trainers like Tobias, like Ash, Go, who just caught Suicune in the anime,
They
and then
just
as we see in later in the anime, spoiler alert for anyone who doesn't watch the subbed version, um, Horus, aka Tokyo, Go's friend, catches Virizion. What do you think about them?
jail time. It should be exactly what happens in the real world of if they're gonna have these Pokemon that are essentially like these extinct, all-time powerful Pokemon. Plus, if they get into the wrong hands, like what?
Giovanni and Mewtwo.
Exactly. So we've seen this before. So there should be laws in the Pokemon world. There aren't. So that's why they're allowed to take them without being shoved off to prison. But I feel like if these rules are in place and you catch that, I mean Giovanni should have gone to jail for even just creating Mewtwo in the first place because it wasn't a
Well, I
good
mean,
oriented thing.
Giovanni should have gone to jail for a lot of other reasons, but creating Mewtwo is just one of them.
I'm like the PETA of Pokemon. Jail time.
Now, I am going to argue the fact of yes, we could catch these Pokemon, but you have to take special classes in like trainings to not only be able to own these Pokemon, but to know how to properly take care of them. Because, like Tay said, these Pokemon do have jobs to do. Like Suicune, for example, wanders the earth and purifies polluted waters, maintaining a balance and everything. And just that's it. That's their job. That's the job that they have to do. Yes, we could be able to catch them, but it should be like conservation work where you can quote unquote like Go did catch Suicune, but Suicune now roams the earth. Like technically Suicune is owned by Go, but he is still wandering the earth doing his job. And would only come back for like important things. I'm surprised we didn't see him in the Project Mew trial, but I'm not a writer. But like I said, conservation work, just because these are endangered species, essentially. They're one of a kind, or like we saw in the anime, endangered species of Lugia. We saw Lugia with a baby Lugia. So we know these Pokemon do reproduce, albeit not in the games, but they do reproduce somehow.
Mm,
And so this could be a conservation work to try and increase the population of this Pokemon species.
I can agree with some of what you're saying, but the thing is that if you start to let one person do it, then everyone's going to want to do it. And my argument is that what kind of when you get this training and stuff, bad guys can still get training. Are they going
Hmm.
to undergo a background check like they would to
Yes,
get a gun?
yes. I'm talking like full background check. U.S. education system pay thousands of dollars to go and get this education. And basically, this is essentially like getting a degree in environmental sciences.
So you're saying that Go has a degree in environmental. So what age do
No,
you think?
no. You
So
you 100% have to be like, I would say, of voting age in the United States. 18.
I think it has to be more than
18.
18.
18 to start taking the
35
class.
president age.
I mean, honestly, maybe. But 18 to start taking the class and going through the trainings.
Okay. If like the thing is like I agree with they should be able to roam the earth, but I just don't think people should be able to like even own them. Like I feel like they you can like you know how you pay money and you donate to like
Mhm.
name a star or like a panda or something. I
Yeah.
think that that's okay. And like maybe the money can go towards that conservation, but I don't think anyone technically needs to own these Pokemon. I think that they can work towards it and they can help. I think that it's the com- com- I think that to conserve them and to have money to conserve them, I think that's great. But I think that nobody can own them.
It's fair. But that's our opinion topic for this episode. Now, let us know in the comment section, do you think that people should be able to own legendary Pokemon? Do you think, like me, they should be able to go through a class and training to be able to catch and work to help the conservation efforts of these Pokemon? Or do you think, like Tay, and
Jail
that no one
time.
should be able to catch these Pokemon, and if you do catch them, jail?
Period.
Let us know in the comments below. And after this quick break, we are going to go to our silly little question that we thought of and is very applicable to at least one of our lives right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are now going on to our silly little question. Now, this is something that I thought of because it is very applicable to my life right now. I am in the middle of a cross-country move with my husband, and
Color me
this just
shocked.
really as if Tay and I hadn't been talking about this for the last like 2 months. But the question is, for a cross-country move, what Pokemon would you want to have with you in the car or during a move, cross-country move, or just a cross-country road trip? Now, my answer, as always with a lot of these silly little questions, I've got two responses. The first one, and it's because I'm moving from the Northeast down back down home to the South. I would want Rotom because Rotom can turn into like a fan or keep a refrigerator, and I can keep snacks in there. Yes, it would be difficult to keep Rotom fridge in mine or my husband's tiny car, but we would make it work. We would make it work. Because those would just be like the best things. And then the other answer is Munchlax. Now, a lot of people are thinking, Munchlax, why? Question mark. And I will tell you why. Because especially in like the manga, we see Diamond's Munchlax just carry around stuff in its little pouches where it carries like berries and stuff.
Uh huh.
It can carry snacks for me, and we'll just have like a little free pouch to carry stuff in, and it's a cute little buddy to have with you.
I have a counter argument.
Hmm.
He's gonna eat all your snacks.
Very true. That is a concern. That is a concern. But if it's well trained like Maze Munchlax, then it won't.
But if he's hungry, and Munchlax eats a lot.
That's what you just whoop up a maze pink surprise.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, Tay, what's your answer on this?
Well,
What Pokemon would you have with you on a road trip cross country?
I have to match, right? I have to match the two answers. Because I'm extra. Because I'm a Leo. So my first answer that I thought of was a personal favorite of mine, which is Togekiss. And I'm arguing Togekiss because my car is small, and I always need to take multiple trips when doing things, especially if you don't want to spend the money on a U-Haul, right? Right? Stay with me. Togekiss is so strong because, yes, Queen, she will be able to take a bunch of extra stuff that you can't carry in your car. But also, if you just need like a little break from, just being cooped up in the car, just fly. Then you get that fresh air and you can just relax for a little bit. And it carries all your stuff. Who needs a U-Haul when you have a Togekiss? And
True,
it's not going to eat your snacks.
true.
My second answer would be probably I had two that I was going back and forth with just kind of like for emotional support. One of them was Chansey, but I think that I'm going to go with a Wigglytuff. And I'm going with Wigglytuff because if you are taking turns driving in the car, if you're with your significant other, or say you need a break and you need to go off on the side of the road, Wigglytuff will be able to help you get to sleep so that you
Did
can
you
be well
sing?
rested, and it can double slap you awake so that you're not going to be off time and you don't need your alarm.
I'm just imagining, I'm just imagining like Harley's Wigglytuff from the anime just slapping me with its ears as I'm just like, I take a yawn. It's like, no, stay awake.
Yes, exactly. So I think
But
that,
then would that cause like you to overcorrect or jerk the car?
well, no, because you're sleeping. I'm
Oh,
saying that
I thought you were talking about
Wigglytuff.
like it like with me, if you were just yawning, like, oh my gosh, I'm tired, and Wigglytuff just slaps you awake.
No, no. If you're then when you take a nap and you're sleeping, as you're taking your break, right? When you
Oh,
need to wake
okay.
up, Wigglytuff will smack the shit out of you.
I'm also looking this up to see if Wigglytuff can learn the move Wake Up Slap.
Well, it can just use double slap.
Double Slap, yes, Double Slap hurts, but Wake Up Slap was created for the sole purpose of waking up a sleeping opponent. So pause with me for a second.
That would be really interesting if you had two Pokemon on your side and one of them was asleep and you smacked one of them awake in a double battle. I mean, that would be convenient, but it would be kind of a waste of a turn in a way, especially if it were to wake up
Very.
anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that
And
would
you're
be
just causing
convenient.
unnecessary damage to your opponent
Yeah,
or to your ally.
I just feel like Wigglytuff would. I was thinking Chansey because Chansey's a good emotional support, but I think that with Wigglytuff, Wigglytuff would probably just be the best because of all the reasons that I've given of saying and smacking me awake.
Yeah. Yeah, continue to. There went my light. Okay, we're just gonna do the rest of this without the light because that was really difficult. But yes, so I do think those are really solid answers. I'm still, like I said, looking
You're
up to
good.
see who can learn it. Yes, Jigglypuff can learn Wake Up Slap. So if you taught it to Jigglypuff and then evolved it into Wigglytuff, you could be
You're all
slapped
set.
awake.
You're all good.
You're all good.
See, it would smack.
Wiggly Wigglytuff would smack you as you're yawning right now.
Sleep. Very convenient.
Very convenient, very necessary.
Those are my answers.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments below what you would take with you on a cross-country move and or road trip. What Pokemon would you have with you in the car? Would you want something to be able to keep you awake? Would you want something to keep you company? Something to hold snacks? Or just whatever? Like let us know in the comments what you would want. Now, after this break, we will talk about our wrap ups and what we are looking forward to. Thank you, everybody, so much for staying with us through another episode of Chew News. Now, for our wrap up segment, we wanted to remind everyone again that we have the Greninja raids at the end of this week, followed by the Tandem Mouse Valentine's Day raids on the 13th and 14th. And then also we have the statues in Pokemon Center to look forward to if you want to spend some significant coin on those to get those if you're an avid collector. And we also have the Pokemon bomber jackets if you want to look stylish and rep Pokemon. But until then, we will be back on our regular upload schedule. And Tay, where can they find us?
If you would like to follow us on Twitter, we are at ChewNews1. We'll probably make an Instagram eventually, but that's at least what we're at for now, for, at least on Twitter. So make sure to follow us.
So stay tuned for the next episode. And remember, when you choose your news, choose
Choose Chew
Chew
News.
News.